I would also like to call into the ring this evening to wish our boxers good luck. Firstly, Mr. Stuart Shaw, the Sun International Director of Gaming Complexes. Also, Mr. Rod Walker, he's the General Manager of the Carousel, and also a former WBO Junior Featherweight and Junior Flyweight and Flyweight Champion. He's the current IBA Junior Flyweight Champion of the World, Baby Jake Matlala. Ladies and gentlemen, could we please have everybody standing up, firstly for our national anthems. First one, the Mexican National Anthem. Please remain standing for the South African national anthems. Ladies and gentlemen, our ring girls are holding up the old buck belts. If tonight there is a new champion, he will take home the old buck belts. We have a big warm welcome and a big thank you for our flag bearers, our honored guests, and also the Carousel ring girls. Ladies and gentlemen, this IBF Junior Featherweight World title is fought under the auspices of the South African National Boxing Control Commission, its chairman and ring physician, Dr. Peter Natani, and its executive director, Stanley Christodoulou. And for the IBF this evening, the ring supervisor, Hiawatha Knights, and the South African representative, Shepet Kivit. Our judges this evening, all the way from East London, Lulama Imcha. Also Elf Bakwana from Gauteng, and all the way from the United States, Gene Williams. Your timekeeper this evening, Danny Litchfield. And when the action begins, the bell will ring, and the man taking charge of our 12-round fight, our referee this evening, Stan Christodoulou. Ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing to follow for the IBF Junior Featherweight Championship of the World. Introducing the principals, he's fighting out of the blue corner. He is the challenger wearing the black and white trunks. He weighed in at 54.9 kilograms. He is the former Mexican champion and also the former WBC Intercontinental champion. He's had 31 fights, 7 wins and 1 loss. He's had 26 knockouts. He hails from Mexico City, Mexico, Enrique Jupiter. Fighting out of the red corner, he's South Africa's very own IBF Junior Featherweight Champion of the World, making his 9th defense of his title, which he won here in this ring nearly 3 years ago. He hails from Border. He's wearing the blue, red and yellow trunks. He weighed in at 55.2 kilograms. He's had a professional record of 32 fights, 2 wins with 18 knockouts. Please welcome the current IBF Junior Featherweight Champion of the World, Vuyani, the Beast, Bungu.
Right, you follow the rules, shake hands, good luck to you both.
Well, here we go into this long-awaited IBF Junior Featherweight Championship of the World between South Africa's Vuyani Bungu, the Beast, the Carousel Kid in the blue trunks, the red trim, the man from South Africa, defending his title for the 9th time against Enrique Jupiter from Mexico, the Mexican in the white trunks with the black trim. This should be an interesting fight, Andre. We don't know much about the Mexican. We look at his record. He's been mostly home-based. Most of his fights have been in his hometown, Mexico City. He's got a long record. He's only got a few losses, 7 losses, 25 knockouts. But what about the caliber of opponent he's knocked out?
Well, that we don't know, of course. Most of his fights have taken place in Mexico City, which is also, of course, his hometown, where he lives, where he trains. He has ventured out in the last year or so to have a few fights in Sacramento in the States. But, however, we must say that 17 of his wins have been scored inside the first 4 rounds, I beg your pardon. And for a man to do this, he still has to hit his opponents right. So we know that he can punch.
So Vuyani Bungu's got to be careful of that big right hand, but we know Vuyani's a skilled fighter. He's defending his title up for the 9th time, as I said earlier. He's been in a lot of long fights, 12-rounders. He'll go the distance, and he can take a shot. We've never really seen Vuyani Bungu in trouble in his career.
No, we haven't. The worst situation that we've seen him in was, I think, in his last defense when he was cut in the very first round against Jesus Salud. But he weathered that storm, and he came back to win that fight quite easily on our card at that time.
Well, that was the fight of the year at the time, and a great fight, great little fight put up by Vuyani Bungu. One factor against Bungu tonight, he's 30 years old. Jupiter's only 25, so he's got 5 years in age, and this can make a difference in the little men.
It can make quite a big difference. A lot of hard fights for Bungu. As we said, this is his 9th defense. He's gone 10 rounds 15 times, 10 rounds or more 15 times in his career. So he's been in the ring a lot, but we know that he's a very skilled boxer. He's a very good defensive boxer. He doesn't take a lot of punishment. And I don't think that can really count against him right now.
With a good right, just speaking, there's some good shots coming in there from Bungu. But Jupiter's a little bit of an unknown factor. So and we know the Mexicans are come from a tough school. So we must be careful with these Mexicans because we don't know what we're really up against.
The one thing that we can see quite clearly is that Jupiter has both a height and a reach advantage. But we know that Bungu's a fairly slow starter. He'll suss his man out and he'll be back later on in the fight.
Well, he knows to possibly go 12 rounds, so why tire yourself out right in the beginning? Work, build up the speed, pick up the pace midway through the fight, and come on the home run, which he does most times. But a very good round so far for the Mexican. He's been catching Bungu with a few good shots there. Seems to be quite a sharp puncher, is the Mexican.
I think Jupiter's had a very good round. He's worked quite well to Bungu's body. He has landed a few punches to the head, but as we know that Bungu's a slow starter.
Well, possibly if anything, I would have to say that Jupiter shaded that round.
ese cabrón está bien parado y bien lentote,
No te hacen nada. Nomás haz caso, no bajes la derecha y muévete. Cuando vienes el gancho, da un paso lateral hacia
Now, make sure that you step in with double check, okay? Step in with double check. Watch his counter, okay? Now, watch his counter when you lead with the right hand, okay? But you've got to step into the double check. I want you to work the body, okay? I want you to work the body.
As we're going around two, a bit of concern in the corner there, Bungu. I think he's got a little nick on the eyelid, and I could see Harold Forbrat working on that left eyelid of Bungu. That's not a good sign, but Harold Forbrat, possibly one of the finest trainers in the country, he'll know how to control that. And we're going to round two of this IBF junior featherweight contest, scheduled for 12. And that's South Africa's Vuyani Bungu, the Carousel kid, fighting here at the Carousel in a big tent on the car park. About 3,000 people possibly in the tent. They come to see the South African, the popular Vuyani Bungu defending his title here for the 9th time against the Mexican Enrique in the white trunks. Wasn't a very good start there for Bungu. I thought it was a slow start, Andre.
It is a slow start, but we're quite used to that from Bungu. And even now, as the Mexican comes in very aggressively, Bungu is just covering up, and he's having a look at what's going on, and I think he knows he's in for a long fight here tonight.
Well, you know, he's very deceptive, this Bungu, because a lot of people say, look at those punches, they're all on the gloves. He picks up the punches very well. He's got good lateral movement, so a lot of times the opponent's throwing punches, but they're not really scoring punches. Got tight defenses, Bungu, look at it, very tight. Hands up, gloves up, and he's picking a lot of those punches up on the gloves. And they are not scoring punches.
Bungu working away very well to the body as he has Jupiter backed up against the ropes. And there's a very good left hand from Bungu right in the face of Jupiter.
Bungu starting to pick up the pace in round two. And another good right hand coming there from the South African.
A very worried look on Jupiter's face at this moment. Maybe he's got those 3 knockout defeats he suffered on his mind right now.
Oh, good left hand and right hands coming there from the South African. This is good stuff here from the champion. There we go, tight defense. A lot of punches coming in, but very few landing on the target. Bungu picking them all up on his gloves. Might look impressive, but I don't think that'll impress the judges. Bungu showing all the experience there as he fights his way off the ropes. That's a much better round here for the champion. He's picked up the pace here in round two, and he's just letting the punches flow.
Well, Bungu definitely had Jupiter shaken at one point in this fight, but Jupiter looks okay right now. But what's interesting is that where Jupiter was backing Bungu up, it's now quite the reverse, and the Mexican is moving backwards.
Well, I think it was just a feeling out round, that first round there for Vuyani Bungu. And now he's picked up the pace in round two, and all the scoring punches coming from the South African. A very good round there for the South African.
Don't stay, we'll never know. Don't stay, okay? Don't stay in those holes, okay? Right. Now we've got you to put a little bit of pace. Okay? A little bit of pace.
Oh, there's some action there from that second round, and possibly we'll see, oh, very good left. That is that good left hand that jolted the Mexican's head back, and we could possibly see some of the good shots coming there from South. Good little left hand there, and those are pinpoint shots there coming in from the South African Vuyani Bungu.
Más rápido que moviéndote. Esta pelea te la llevas, por favor.
We're going to round through this IBF junior featherweight title fight scheduled for 12. Enrique Jupiter, the man from Mexico, weighing at 54.90, and South Africa's Vuyani Bungu weighing at 55.20. Both men comfortably well within the junior featherweight limit of 55.34 kilograms. A good round there, second round there for Vuyani Bungu.
Well, this is what we've come to expect from him. He'll take the first round to have a look at his opponent and decide on his strategy, or see if his plans that he's made are correct. And then as the fight goes on, Bungu, we know, opens up and ends very strongly. And this is what we expect from him in this fight as well.
Well, you can see there Bungu commanding the center ring and backing the Mexican up. And the same thing, carefully watch Bungu. Very good defense. Picks up the punches in the air, takes them on the gloves. Very difficult to break that guard of Vuyani Bungu. It's only 3 years ago in the same ring here, August the 20th, 1994, that Vuyani Bungu fought Kenny McKinney to win the title, and possibly the greatest performance of his career was that night when he won the title.
Well, I think so, and I think that fight set the pattern for all his defenses, where he started slowly against McKinney. McKinney had a chance in the fight until the middle rounds, and as we got into the stretch, Bungu just streaked away and ended up actually out-jabbing the champion, who's known for his jab at that time.
You know, he was a complete underdog, was Bungu, in that fight, and he surprised the world because Kenny McKinney was considered one of the pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world at the time. But here we are back in this fight, and it's Vuyani Bungu really putting on the pressure now against the Mexican Enrique Jupiter. But you can see that the Mexican knows his way around the ring. He's a fairly skilled fighter. He's had a lot of fights. He had more fights than the South African. And there are Stan Kusadulu, the very experienced Stan Kusadulu, possibly one of the top referees in the world, refereeing in his 80th world title fight tonight. He's judged in 11, so he's been in there 91 times on the world scene. And I would rate him possibly top 3, I could say number 1 in the world.
Well, he's certainly one of the top referees in the world, and what of course helps him is he's a big man, and this helps him just have a lot of presence in the ring.
Well, I'd like to see him in some of these heavyweight fights because, you know, some of these referees recently haven't been handling these heavyweight fights all that well, and possibly he should be given a chance in the top heavyweight fights. But yeah, we can see him moving around the ring, doing an excellent job.
A very interesting tactic from Jupiter here, while we've been talking about the referee, is he's switching between an orthodox stance and a southpaw stance. He doesn't seem to be able to make up his mind which way he wants to fight, and it seems to have had not much effect on Bungu at all.
But he's a clever fighter, as Jupiter. You can see he's got the experience. He's going to be no pushovers. A lot of people thought that this would be an easy fight for Vuyani Bungu, but very few Mexicans are easy fights. But good stuff coming in there from the champion, but little right hand coming there. Good right hands coming in from Enrique Jupiter. 2 little short right hands in the clinch there. And possibly Bungu did enough just to shade that round on my card.
Esta pelea es por Enrique Sigal. Eres más 2, 3 golpes y salte rápido. Muévete, recíbelo y dale 2, 3 golpes. Pas, 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 pas y vámonos. ¿Oíste?
Si te agacha, íntale el volado de arriba para abajo en la cabeza, cabrón. Íntaselo de arriba para abajo.
Nomás no entres descubierto para un lado. Adelantando con el pie izquierdo.
Step inside. Give me jab, roll, come back with the hook right
Step in
hand.
quicker. Okay? Now, you're giving this guy some time to move on or over. Okay? You're giving this guy some time to move over. Step in, cut the corner. Okay?
Yeah, I think we're going to see some slow motion from the third round. Bungu throwing a good right hand to the body.
Andre, you can see him getting clipped with those little right hands there. As I said, they're clipped with the little right hands on the inside, and he's got to be careful of those.
Well, we've seen the effect of those because Bungu has a fair swelling over his left eye at this moment, and that caused a bit of concern in his corner during the round, during the break.
It's a very difficult cut because it's on the eyelid, and I think this is causing a bit of concern because if it bleeds into the eye, and you can see him blinking there, and this could cause him a bit of problems as the fight goes by. This is round 4 of the scheduled 12-rounder for the IBF Junior Featherweight title with Vuyani Bungu defending the title for the 9th time.
Bungu quite well keeping those punches off by keeping his gloves high. The Mexican throwing quite a lot of punches, a lot landing on Bungu's gloves. There we see the Mexican again changing between the orthodox and the southpaw stance. And maybe this is going to confuse Bungu a little bit now.
But Bungu trying to cut off the ring. A lot of movement here from the Mexican, and then good shots come in there from Vuyani Bungu. Good little left hand and a good little right hand there.
Well, we saw the Mexican shake his head after that right hand landed, and that's a sure indication that he noticed the punch.
Good right hand there from the champion. That got the Mexicans' attention. There's no doubt about that. Good stuff there on there. He's got the backing up the Mexican against the ropes, and good stuff from South Africa's Vuyani Bungu. And that's Bungu, the Carousel kid in the blue trunks, just pouring it on there. Lefts and rights coming in.
Well, we've got Jupiter virtually running away from Bungu at this stage, not knowing quite how to cope with this controlled aggression of Bungu.
And the crowd behind the South African, you can hear the crowd rising to the Vuyani Bungu, the Carousel kid. Good stuff there from the champion. Good hooking off the jab. Terrific stuff here from Vuyani Bungu. Tight defense again. Very few of those punches really scoring. And that was a good right hand to the body there from Jupiter.
It is interesting that we haven't seen any of Jupiter's vaunted punching power to this stage, and I wonder whether he's going to be able to find it as this fight wears on.
Well, you know, Vuyani Bungu is a very difficult target. He's got a tight defense. He comes in tight, and it's very difficult to land a punch on him. So even though you're a puncher, it's not easy to set him up for a big punch.
Well, that's the other thing, is Bungu's got Jupiter backing up so much that Jupiter's just not able to set himself to land that big shot, and this is a very good tactic of Bungu's.
And he's got good balance, Bungu. Look at his legs. He's always balanced, moves around, cuts the ring off. Good little fighter is Vuyani Bungu. Good stuff there. Good combinations there from good little sharp right hands coming in there from the Jupiter. You've got to watch out for those right hands. And another very good round there for the champion.
Remember, this guy, you can't stay next to him when you're doing nothing, okay? Don't allow him to be on. You've got to step in and work inside. If you are not working, you must be away from this guy, okay? Don't just stay close on him.
Es mejor que él, que no te quedes parado de largo. Dátele vuelta para que él no se acomode. Ya lo ha bajado con los ganchos abajo. Oye, dale llegando y cortando, ya cansado abajo. No te quedes parado ahí, muévase. Eres mejor que él.
And here we see some slow motion from the fourth round where Bungu's got Jupiter backed up against the ropes, banging away with that right hand to the body, left hooks to the body, and this is very good work by Bungu indeed. And I think these body shots are going to take their toll as this fight goes on.
Seconds up.
Well, we're going to round 5 of this interesting and I could say rather exciting IBF junior featherweight title fight. There's been plenty of action, there's no doubt about it, and most of the action coming from the South African, but Enrique Jupiter landing short little punches on the inside there, and those could be dangerous.
Well, Jupiter is working away. Of course, he comes to this country very, very highly regarded, and yes, Bungu will know that he's been in a fight tonight.
But he's never really, even though Bungu's landed some big shots on the Mexican's jaw, he's never really stunned him. And at no time has Jupiter really looked in trouble.
Well, I think Bungu is not known for his one-punch knockout power. He's what we call slow poison. He'll wear a man down, and his stoppages have normally occurred later on in his fights.
But I can see, looking at that left eye, that must be giving him problems. It's becoming a little bit puffy. And as the fight goes on, this could be a problem for the champion. There's Bungu just lying against ropes, relaxing here, Bungu. Just taking it easy. He knows it's going to be a long fight, 12 rounds. He doesn't go for the knockout. He just works away, chips away as he goes along, and that's Bungu's style.
There's the Mexican once again changing to a southpaw style, where he leads with his right hand and his right foot forward. And this confuses orthodox boxers because the southpaws go always to the orthodox boxer's left, whereas others would move to his right. And sometimes we see a boxer floundering, actually looking for his opponent in the ring.
But I don't think Vuyani Bungu should be really fazed by that, because he's dealing with all sorts, and well, the Mexican can jump around as much as he likes. A lot of dancing, a lot of action going here, but very little punching. Well, not much happening in this round, and very little in it between the two of them. Very few clean punches coming through. And now it looks like Bungu's decided to pick up the pace here in round 5. But a lot of people expected Bungu just to walk through the Mexican when he came into this country. But I think they're in for a little surprise here tonight.
Well, I don't think any Mexican fighter that's come to this country has ever been regarded as a pushover. And this man, Enrique Jupiter, tonight is no exception.
Well, it's a credible performance so far here by the challenger. And he's really making the champion work.
The South African crowd really getting behind Vuyani Bungu now, chanting his name, standing up in their seats, some of them really shouting to get him going and giving him a lot of encouragement tonight.
And as you were talking there, Andre, a good right hand came in there from the champion on the side of the jaw that got the Mexicans' attention.
Very good combination by Bungu. The right hand followed by a very sharp left hook right on Jupiter's jaw. But it didn't seem to faze the Mexican too much.
A little bit of showboat there from Bungu, but not much effective stuff coming from Jupiter. And I'd have to give that round to Bungu. A little bit of action there was in it, possibly, but go to him.
Okay? He must rather run. I know you want to trap him on the rope, but don't do that. He's tough, okay? And I don't want you to be on this center on the rope because what you want to do might not help us, okay? I want you to stay behind. Cut corner.
Mano izquierda, técnica, avienta 2, 3 golpes y muévete. Rapidito, 1, 2, 3, paz, salte. Salte con tus manos arriba cubierto o balanceándote para que no te agarre, ¿eh? Oíste, muévete, no te quedes parado. Anda desesperado y anda cansado.
Well, we're going to see some action here from that slow motion from that fifth round, which wasn't a very, very action-packed round, but possibly we'll see the only real good punches that came in there, which came from the champion, Vuyani Bungu. A very little action for 3/4 of the round and a little bit of a burst at the end, which Vuyani Bungu landing some good ones. We're going to round 6 here into the halfway stage of this scheduled 12-rounder, and possibly I must have Bungu now 2 points ahead on my scorecard.
That's Vuyani Bungu, the IBF Junior Featherweight champion in blue, defending it for the 9th time, and his challenger tonight, Enrique Jupiter from Mexico, in the white shorts with the black trim.
Good right hander coming in from the champion, but never at any time has he really hurt the Mexican.
A lot of probably win the fight by quite a big margin, and this is the way he's been successful before.
But good body work coming in there from Jupiter. Every now and again he scores that right hand, a little left hand going in, and those are scoring punches that could possibly influence the judges. Well, so far, better round here for Enrique Jupiter. He's been backing the champion up so far. He's round and pushing out the jab. Not strong punches, but they're on the target.
Well, Jupiter seems to have found a way to get Bungu off him. He's throwing out that long right jab. There he changes from southpaw and back to orthodox again, but he's keeping Bungu off him with that long jab, and this is what he needs to do if he's going to have a chance in this fight.
But possibly with these tactics, he's keeping Bungu off balance. A lot of running here from Jupiter, running around the ring and trying to confuse the champion. Jupiter, experienced fighter, he's had 39 fights, 31 wins, 7 losses and 1 draw. So he's been around, been a pro for 9 years. Vuyani Bungu been a pro for 10 years. So 2 very experienced fighters here in the ring tonight. Very little action here. I mean, it's more dancing than boxing. So that maybe the champion heard, because that was a good right hand coming there from Vuyani Bungu.
Well, Bungu's having some difficulty with the movement that Enrique Jupiter is giving him. And he seems to have difficulty cornering him and getting him to stand still long enough to land a punch on him.
Well, that is a very, very uninteresting round, and the boss would have to call that an even round.
Este no te hizo nada, ¿oíste? Esta pelea te la llevas, ¿oíste? Necesitas soltar un poquito más las manos. 2, 3 golpes y muévete y salte. Y balanceate para salirte hasta los dos, no salgas con las manos abajo, subiendo tu derecha.
You hear me, Vader? Do me a favor. Step in, your fight is close inside. And this fight is still close. Okay?
And this is a look at some of the action from the 5th round in this fight, where we didn't see a lot, but Bungu did finish the round landing a good combination, and there we saw a smashing right hand to Enrique Jupiter's jaw from the champion.
Well, that was actually from the 6th round as we go into round number 7 here, and we're into the midway stage of this fight, the second half, working towards the championship rounds, and that's where Vuyani Bungu has got to bring it on, because he's got a difficult challenger tonight. The Mexican has come to fight, dancing, moving, giving a lot of movement, and giving the champion a lot of trouble in the last 2 rounds. Bungu's finding it very difficult to pin Enrique Jupiter down. And that's Jupiter in the white trunks, the man from Mexico, challenging South Africa's Vuyani Bungu in the blue trunks, who's defending his IBF junior featherweight title here for the 9th time.
So here we see Bungu with Jupiter backed up against the ropes once again, and this is where he's most effective. But the Mexican, of course, is not going to stand around and wait to be hit. And as soon as Bungu does land, he's back off on his bicycle. A lot of action coming from Jupiter here. He landed several jabs in a row. He landed quite a good right hand and a left hook to the body. And Bungu seems a little bit more confused than he's looked in previous rounds, Ron.
Well, I see this, here in the last 2 or 3 rounds, there's been a change in the pattern of the fight. Bungu's allowing Jupiter to get in the fight with these tactics, dancing, moving away. And because Bungu's got to try and crowd him and get work to the body. I wouldn't say this is vintage Bungu that we're seeing here tonight. Got a lot of snap in his punches.
No, and he's definitely struggling with the movement and with the switching between orthodox and southpaw of the Mexican. He seems a little bit confused, but hopefully he'll suss him out in a round or 2.
But that's not going to win points for the Mexican, because all very well jumping around like this, but you've got to throw punches and scoring punches, not on the gloves, to impress the judges. And this doesn't impress the judges. There's no scoring coming from Mexican. Survival tactics.
And the other thing is, can the Mexican keep up this kind of movement for the next 6 rounds? It takes an enormous amount of energy to run around and jump around in a ring like this. And with the effect of the body punches that Bungu landed earlier in the fight, well, who knows if this Mexican can keep this up for that long.
Looks like a bit of blood coming out of that left eye of Vuyani Bungu, and I think it's beginning to worry him now, because he took a punch there from the Mexican on the eye, and the blood started coming out again. So this could be a problem for the champion, because the blood, it looks to cut right on the eyelid, and this could give him trouble, because the blood would trickle into the eye and blur his vision. Well, definitely Bungu battling here with the Mexican. Possibly the Mexican would win that round.
Okay, fine. Okay. Vedo, how do you feel, okay? All right, then? Vedo, you cannot fight only at the end of the round, okay? You've got to put pressure. This guy, he's buying time as much as he can. Okay? You're not in it. Every time you've got to slip your point and step in.
Pero hay que poner un poquito más, pero con mucho cuidado, Enrique. Más. ¿Entramos a cuál? ¿Al octavo?
Octavo. Ok.
¿Cómo te sientes para aguantar la pelea a ritmo un poquito más lento, más recio? Ándale pues. Ya vea, pas, te sales.
Well, we're going to underway to this IBF Junior Featherweight title fight. And a pretty close fight so far, Andre. To me, there's nothing much in it because in the last 2 or 3 rounds, Bungu seems to be falling behind, and he's letting the Mexican get into the fight.
Well, we've got Bungu ahead on our card at this moment by a point or 2. But Jupiter's definitely coming back into this fight, and if Jupiter comes in with a good round, we can have the fight even going into the 9th.
But Jupiter looking very confident, I must say. The breathing's okay, and the South African has got a bit of a problem with that eye, and that's given him a lot of trouble. You can see there's a bit of puffiness around the eye and a bit of blood, but he's got one of the best cutmen and cornermen in the corner there, Harold Fallback, who's working out. But the problem is, it's a very difficult the position where the cut is. It's on that eyelid, and this is causing problems. Jupiter, a very elusive target, moving around all the time, dancing around, scoring to the body there, and really tonight we're not seeing the vintage Bungu.
He's going to get against a very awkward opponent tonight, and I really wonder whether Jupiter is going to keep this up for this amount of time, because sometimes Neri takes a very good right hand from Bungu against the ropes, and every time he does stop, Bungu is successful and he catches him. But how long can the Mexican keep running?
Bungu's got to cut off the ring and just work in the inside, and this is what he's trying to do now. Taking a lot of those punches on the gloves is Bungu, and working on the inside. There are little uppercuts coming in there from Bungu as he works to the body. This is what he could do. He's got the same pattern he did rounds 4 and 5 and getting close. Jab, that's going to be scoring punches. Possibly that could impress the judges, who knows. They're coming from Jupiter from Mexico in the white trunks. Well, it seems to be the bleeding has stopped now. That eye at Harold Fallback's controlled the bleeding, and but there's definitely not the Bungu we know. He looks jaded tonight. He's not as sharp as we've normally seen him, and he's definitely having problems with the shiftier punch.
Well, Jupiter employing the right tactics now. He's keeping Bungu off him with that long jab, and he alternates between the left jab. And this is what he has to do to win this fight.
Absolute confidence on showing from Jupiter. He didn't realize he'd be in the chance in this fight. And there are some good shots coming in the champion as we say that. Oh, another good right hand there from Vuyani Bungu. And late start, at the end of the round, Bungu came right back into the round again, but a very difficult round to score. I don't know how that would go. I'd have to sit on the fence.
Okay? I need another good round.
That was an excellent run.
I need another good round. Do you want this? Okay. You've got to step in all the time. You've got to step in all the time, okay? Take a deep breath. I don't want you to throw outside.
Moviendo la cintura y con pasos laterales para que no te canses tanto. ¿Oíste? Con pasos laterales. Vas moviendo, saliendo y golpeando. Tu izquierda como pinchón. Paz. Cruza, echaste un cortito. No te abras mucho. Sube tu mano.
Well, some action here from that 8th round, and we could see the champion backing up the Mexican against the ropes, but it was a late flurry right at the end of the round. Real action from the champion early in the round. We're going to round 9 of this scheduled 12-rounder, and I don't think we'll see a knockout unless something special happens, because neither of the fighters have been stunned or hurt. Nobody's shown a real big punch. But absolute confidence from the Mexican. He's grown in confidence as the fight has gone along, and he's showing a lot of confidence here in round number 9, and he's trying to back up the champion. Vuyani Bungu, a gutsy little fighter. He's been there before. He can pick it up, and he knows he's got to do something special now to retain his title.
Well, as you said that, he did something special. He landed a very good right hand flush on the Mexican's cheek. But these are the rounds where we're accustomed to seeing Bungu get his act together and really pour it on.
Oh, some good shots coming, good combinations coming there from a champion.
We're seeing the Mexican standing in front of Bungu and fighting with him now, where he's been successful with his tactics. Do you think he's going to try and knock Bungu out?
I don't think so, because he's coming off second best. Bungu's landing 2 to his 1. And I don't think Bungu's got the power, but really, it's been... But Bungu's timing slightly out here. He's not really landing as well as I've seen him before, but he's been landing quite a few earlier on in the round. Oh, that hurt the champion. This is it. Well, that's really on the eye, and the blood is pouring out of the left eye of Vuyani Bungu. And that really stunned him, and he's worried about that. I think the blood is pouring into his eye. And now it's all the Mexican is just pouring it on. Vuyani Bungu's got to dig deep now. He's got to show championship courage here now, because he's having real problems. He's trying to wipe that blood away from the eye, and that's giving him real trouble here in round number 9. And you can see the confidence in the face of the Mexican. He knows that Vuyani Bungu's got terrible problems with that eye.
Well, this Mexican has just grown in stature as this fight has gone on. And here he is, and he really looks like he believes he can win this fight now.
Well, he's picked up the pace, and he's beaten the champion to the puncher now. Just before that punch caught Bungu on the eye, Bungu was doing quite well, but he seems to have lost a bit of confidence now with the blood pouring from that eye.
Well, that really was surprising, because Bungu almost turned away from him and almost walked away from him. But of course, the Mexican just continued chasing him and kept throwing punches.
Well, are we going to see an upset here tonight? Because there's still 3 rounds to go over this, and that must definitely be the Mexican's round.
Well, that's the clearest round he's won, yes.
Yeah, and you've got to work down behind the jab, and I need the double jab. This is the right, this is the 10th round. Video. This is the 10th round. Yeah.
Don't blow it. Don't blow it. You look...
Video. I'm not looking for big punches. I'm looking for scoring punches.
Okay.
Yeah. And don't stand straight. Keep on rolling.
This is your title, man. Come on. This is your title. Put it together. Recuerda que es día de mi santo. Necesito esa pelea. Hoy es día de round 10. ¿Ok? Dame. ¿Qué quieres? Marcelina. Esta pelea es tuya, Enrique. ¿Oíste?
Well, I see some slow motion from the ground. I to see that shot on the eye where Vuyani Bungu turned around, and yes, there he was. He was really in trouble there. It must have caught the eye and started the bleeding again, and it really upset the champion. He just pulled away.
Hold it. Just clean the water here.
Well, we're going to round 10 here of this scheduled 12-rounder, and Vuyani Bungu is really going to have to dig deep now, because the Mexicans come on strong in the last 2-3 rounds, and we'll have to see some real glory and guts here from the champion, because he's falling behind on my scorecard.
Well, that left eye doesn't look good at all. It's really quite swollen and quite puffy at this stage, and we wonder how long it's going to be before that blood starts running back into Bungu's eye.
There's no doubt that eye is giving him a lot of trouble, and it's really worrying there. The blood is pouring out from the eye again. The unfortunate thing is it's so difficult to stop the bleeding because it's right on the eyelid. But Vuyani Bungu's got to forget about the eye, and he's got to get in there and throw punches, because possibly you can see an upset here tonight, because the Mexicans come on strongly in the last 3 rounds, and I've got them even on my scorecard here in round 10.
Well, I think this is anybody's fight going into the last 3 rounds. In Bungu's favor, of course, must be the fact that he's always come on very strongly in the last 3 rounds, but he's never been hampered by a cut this bad before.
That cut's giving him a lot of trouble. You can see him dabbing at the cut with his glove. Possibly the blood is in his eye, and this is giving him real problems. But he's had this before, and he's a gutsy fighter, and I'm sure he'll dig deep.
Well, we saw the Mexican really pouring it on in that sequence. He landed 3 or 4 punches unanswered, and Bungu appears to be in a fair amount of trouble at this stage.
Oh, that's some good left and right combinations coming there from the champion. But he's got to do something special with Bungu, because These are the rounds you're going to count. It's a championship rounds, and he can't afford to fall behind here in these rounds 10, 11, and 12. There's no doubt that this is not the Bungu we know. He definitely lost. There's no snap in his punches, and since that eye started bleeding, it's given him a lot of trouble. He seems to have lost a lot of confidence, and the Mexicans gained confidence.
I think possibly with that blood running into his eye, he doesn't see the Mexican's right hands coming, and of course this is going to affect his concentration to a very great degree.
But a lot of the punches, Bungu is picking up on the gloves at the moment. A tight defense. But there seems to be no stamina problems here with Jupiter. Another very good round here for the Mexican. All the action coming from Mexican, and possibly I'd have to say he shaded that round.
You've got to keep your hands up, you can? Okay? Hammanskraal. Give me a sponge. No, this is the 11th round, Vito.
Come on, Vuyani.
How many rounds
Don't
left?
blow it. It's your title, man.
How many rounds left, Vito? Huh?
2 rounds. You're 6 minutes away.
Okay? Vito, take a deep breath. Vito. Now this guy's gonna try a big one, Seven.
Okay.
Now don't stand. When you step out, step up rolling.
Give him some water.
Okay?
The quick one and move, Vito.
You're gonna
quick one and move.
step up.
Don't
Watch
stand
out.
in the same position when you go back up. Vito.
¿Qué estás haciendo, Enrique, por favor? Piensa lo que estás haciendo.
Yeah, some action from round 10, and you could see those right hands coming there, right on the eye of Vuyani Bungu. That's been giving him terrible trouble. And he just can't see the punches coming, the blood trickling to his eye. And this could win the title for the Mexican. He's going to round 11. Vuyani Bungu is going to do something special because he's falling behind as we're in round 11, 2 rounds to go. As the corner said, you could hear that there was a bit of desperation in the corner of Vuyani Bungu saying, please, you've got 6 minutes to go. The title's yours. Don't let it slip. It's been the difference here. The younger man, 25 years old, Enrique Jupiter, beaten Vuyani Bungu, the hand speed. Vuyani Bungu definitely lacking something tonight. There's no snap in his punches, and this is not the vintage Bungu that we know.
Well, Bungu appears to be trying to step up the pace a little bit here. I think he knows this is a very close fight. He desperately wants to hang on to his title, and I think we're going to see him pour it on in the last 2 rounds.
Well, you know, we say we've got it even, or maybe possibly a point for the Mexican, but we've got 3 judges sitting around the ring. How do they see fights? It's very difficult. They can make us look stupid tonight, Andre. We have an American judge and 2 South Africans. We've got Alfred Vukwana from South Africa, and Ulama Mitcha from South Africa, and Eugenia Williams from the USA, a lady judge. And here comes the South African. He's pouring it on. He's got the Mexican pin in the corner. This is what he's going to do. He's going to take the fight to the Mexican.
I don't think we've ever seen an unfit Vuyani Bungu in the ring. He's always come prepared to go 12 hard rounds, 12 fast rounds, and this is what we're seeing from him here. He really seems to be pouring it on now in the 11th round.
Well, you can hear the crowd trying to lift up the champion now, chanting his name to try and get him back into the fight. And there the blood starts trickling out of that eye again. And this has been giving the champion a lot of problems. Now 2 good right hands coming there from Bungu. Those can't do the Mexican any good.
Where we've seen Enrique Jupiter with a fairly high work rate in the last 4 or 5 rounds, he seems to be slowing down as Bungu tries to step the pace up a
Well,
bit.
there's no doubt it's a better round here for the champion. As we're going to the last 30 seconds of round 11, Bungu definitely picked up the pace here in round 11 and scored more right hands than we've seen him for the last 2 or 3 rounds.
Very good right hand by Bungu. to close out the round, and that's going to catch the judge's eye, that's for sure.
A tremendous left hand coming there from the champion. This is championship stuff coming here from Vuyani Bungu. That gutsy little that jolted the Mexican's head back. And this must be in favor of the champion, Bungu's round.
Parado, ¿oíste? Es el último round, ¿oíste?
Ero, permisa vaseline up here. Give me that eye, give me that eye. Give me the eye, just put the vaseline on my hand there. Easy. Give me the eye. This is the 12th round, baby. Come.
There's an action here from that 11th round when we saw better stuff from Bungu. Possibly see some of those good right hands coming there. And that really jolted the Mexican's head back. A couple of those punches really must have impressed the judges here in round 11 for the champion. He definitely had a big round here in round 11.
Okay, come on. 2 seconds.
Well, we're going into round 12 here, the 12th and final round of this IBF Junior Featherweight title fight between South Africa's Vuyani Bungu in the blue trunks, defending his title here for the 9th time against the Mexican Enrique Jupiter. A very, very close fight on the scorecards. I think it could go either way, but the three judges, they might call it differently, but who knows?
Well, we are very, very close at this point. But of course, there's the unwritten rule that you have to take the champion's title away, and perhaps the judges have that in mind as this fight comes to its close.
Well, you know, Vuyani Bungu had a good 11th round, and he's come out here determined in round 12. He knows that he's got to have a good round and got to pick it up, and possibly that's what he'll do. Good stuff coming up on the champion. He's really digging deep, finishing strongly, good combinations. This is the vintage Bungu. This is what we've been waiting for all night.
Well, this is what we've seen him do before, and this is what we know he can do. He'll start off slowly in a fight, and he'll really end at full speed, and this is what he's doing. He's landed several smashing right hands to Jupiter's head, and that's going to catch the guy's judge, that's for sure.
Well, both fighters there know that this is a round, believing that this is a round that can win the fight for them. And that was a good right hand, possibly one of the best right hands of the fight they're coming in from Bungu.
Well, Bungu's really pouring it on. He's had the Mexican's head twisting on his neck several times here, and what's keeping him up now after those right hands, I don't know.
But all credit to the Mexican there. He's in excellent condition here. He's taken 5 or 6 right hands to the jaw, and it's been all Vuyani Bungu here in round 12. Well, definitely good conditioning here for the champion. He's come out in round 12, right up on his toes, and he's in there. He knows his title could be slipping away, but 2 good rounds from him will possibly just shade the title for him.
It's been a very good, very clean fight between these two very fit young boxers, and referee Christodoulou's had very little to do. We've hardly seen him in this fight.
Well, that's what you want. You don't want to see the referee, and a good boxing match, a good refereeing. This is what super sport brings you. And a very, very good round, guys. We're going to the last 40 seconds of round 12. Been a very, very good round for the champion. That's Vuyani Bungu, the champion in the blue trunks, defending his title here for the 9th time.
Another very good right hand from Bungu, slap bang on Jupiter's jaw.
Well, this is going to be a close one as we go into the last 20 seconds here of round 12 of an interesting fight, possibly dull at times in the middle rounds, but been a close fight, and been surprised the Mexican put up a better fight than most people expected.
Well, he came to make a fight of it. He did what he had to do in the middle rounds to win the rounds. He gave Vuyani Bungu a lot of movement, but yeah, he just doesn't seem to be able to do it anymore.
This round is clearly the champion's round. Been a very, possibly the best round by the champion. And I think he's done enough to retain his title.
Well, yeah, we see a very elated Vuyani Bungu waving his hand up in the air. He believes he's done enough to win this fight.
I reckon that he's done enough, possibly shaded by card by 1 point. 2 good rounds at the end. Must impress the judges. But it'll be very interesting to see how the judges score this fight.
I think it's going to be, the scores will be interesting, but I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to give the fight to Bungu. A very good performance by him at the end of the fight when he really came on strong, as we know he can do.
But all credit to the Mexican. Nobody gave him a chance. He came as a no-upper, and he put up an excellent fight. And Vuyani Bungu knows he's been in a fight tonight.
Well, the Mexican came to fight. He came with a reputation as a big puncher. There were times in the middle rounds when he had Bungu in a fair amount of trouble. He really came to fight.
Yeah, we see some of those right hands, some excellent right hands coming there from the champion. And this is possibly the round that shaded the fight for him. But now we anxiously await the judge's decision, trying to get the scorecard.
Well, Ron Jackson is going to try and make his way into the ring to interview the winner, whoever the judges might award the fight to tonight. But we see both corners are fairly confident that they've won the fight. But as Ron said earlier on our card, we make Bungu a narrow winner, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the judges have awarded the fight tonight. Well, we're awaiting the judges' scores. The scorecards are with the officials at the moment, and they're being tallied and they're being checked. And we await the result of this fight with a lot of interest. And there we see the Mexican on the screen at the moment. He really came to this country to win this title. He made a valiant effort. He put up a very good fight indeed. And he came very close on our card, very close. And there the fighters are embracing, and it's wonderful to see after a hard, clean fight such as this, that the fighters can do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, our judges see the fight as follows. Judge Lulaman Tia scores the fight 117 to 112. Elf Bakwana 116 to 113. And Judge Gene Williams 115 to 113. He is still the IBF Junior Featherweight Champion of the world, Vuyani, the Beast Bungu.
Well, there we are, very, very happy and a very relieved Vuyani Bungu, making the 9th successful defense of his IBF Junior Featherweight title against the very tough Mexican Enrique at the Carousel tonight. Ron Jackson is in the ring. He's going to try and get an interview with the winner. There's a lot of people in the ring at the moment, and we can't really see what is going on. But there we see the winner, Vuyani Bungu, retains his title.